This is not normal. People crying, people backstabbing their best friends, people fighting each other. It's not normal for people in shows to constantly be under stress and always have some kind of drama. My hair's turning white just thinking about this. And by the way, have you ever heard someone say, you know what I've really been craving recently? A show where 1,000 people are just like in a pit and they cry over Jenga blocks and they have a prize dangled in front of them like a carrot on a stick and be eliminated as if they're actually dead and be away from their family for weeks. We really need that. But the thing is, guess how famous Beast Games was? First of all, it was the #1 show on Amazon Prime, and it received 50 million views in the first 25 days. So shows like Beast Games have not only stopped being disturbing to viewers, but viewers are craving it. We all know what shows like Beast Games remind us of. First of all, we gotta talk about the arena. The arena, Beast City, was a literal city in Mississauga, bro. You had these caricature versions of houses, and then you had the whole like Beast City podium, and then you had like a helipad, and it's kind of like a fake city, right? When the players are transported out of their normal lives and then they go into the Beast City arena, right? It doesn't feel like what they're doing is real. If you were away from your family, if you were away from your typical environment, whether or not the cameras were there, you would act differently than how you typically would due to social pressure, okay? It's like your friends knowing you as the funny person, but then when you go to a different school or a different thing, you have the opportunity to invent yourself as a new person and to have a completely and entirely different personality, right? It's kind of the same idea with Beast Games and creating a whole city. The environment is designed to be so that you don't think about what your actions will be perceived by your peers, right? I guarantee you, if Beast Games was held in a contestant's hometown and their parents, the husband, I don't know, were right in front of them watching their every move, do you think that they would do the same thing as they currently did? Like, no, they wouldn't. Nothing in the red box scene would be happening, bro. Maybe they would. I wouldn't do anything. I'd be like, oh, it's just a game, guys. It would be too embarrassing for me to cry. Anyways, it's the same thing in Hunger Games, right? You see the evolution of Hunger Games from when they were from like the arena, like the small arena that was still in the capital, to an arena that's completely separate from the capital citizens and a completely different environment, right? Like you see in the 74th Hunger Games how Katniss was competing in a whole rainforest environment. That's not normally what's available. It affects the viewers and it affects the people. Well, I mean, in case of Hunger Games, right? The kids in Hunger Games are more likely to kill the other kids. They forget about the social pressures. They forget about being judged by your peers. Also, it affects the viewers because the viewers watch this and it's a completely different environment. This feels kind of fictional. First of all, you're watching from a screen in a third-person point of view in which you can turn off the show at any time. Does that feel real to you? That doesn't feel real to you, okay? On a show that was filmed like months ago, the set is like all sunshine and rainbows while you're looking outside, it's pouring rain. Obviously, you're gonna think it's not real. That's the vibe that producers are going for when they're creating these shows because they don't want you to feel like icky watching it. Producers don't want to make you, I'm sure Mr. Beast is aware of this, they don't want you to be aware of the fact that you're watching people cry, have this really affect them. If people were to be aware, they would get the ick and then they would stop watching. It's kind of like the Hunger Games, right? If people don't watch, then there's no games. And you're watching animals in a zoo, bro. It feels like we're the capital citizens. Also, let's talk about the tesseract system. You got 1,000 seats to fill. The whole premise is 1,000 people fighting for $5 million to go to one person. Does that sound familiar? One victor? Who do you think is going to be there? Who do you think is going to be there? It's certainly not someone like Kylie Jenner. I don't know, Bella Hadid. They're not gonna be there. Why? Because they're not desperate. They already have the money. So who ends up going there? It's lower class people who are desperate to provide for their families. And not only that, who are in extreme situations. Jay-Z, who was in over $600,000 of credit card debt. These are people who are desperate, who feel like they need to like hit the lottery or they need to win big. That's the point of the show. Do you think he's pitting 1,000 people against each other for one prize for charity to really see the person person who wins succeeds. Like, I'm sure he wishes the winner well, but I highly doubt he created the show just for that. It's the same thing in the Hunger Games. Like, you have the whole tesseract system, right? Even though the older you get, you have more ballots cast into the FE jar. If you are poor and you need to provide for your family, you could buy tesseract, buying food in exchange for putting your name more times into the bowl. So what ends up happening? Mathematically, you're gonna end up with people who are more desperate, being put in the jar more times. So guess who's more likely to be picked during the reaping? It's the poorer, more desperate people. It's incentivizing them to get onto the Hunger Games and become animals and to backstab and to betray in any way possible so that they can provide good entertainment to who? The capital. So it's the same thing here. Well, yeah, they're voluntarily getting on the show. You're voluntarily signing up for tesseract, right? But those seats need to be filled up anyway. One boy and one girl need to be selected from each district anyways. So why not incentivize the more desperate, dare I say, hungrier? But you know what? We kind of like it. We kind of like seeing somebody being betrayed, being backstabbed, or we love the drama. Otherwise, nobody would tune in. We're like choosing to ignore people's actual lives being affected from being on these shows in exchange for, 30 minutes of entertainment. 30 minutes of your life is entertained in exchange for the person that you're entertained by on the show getting betrayed. And also people after the show getting hate comments if they, did particularly something like manipulative, right? We're just choosing to stay ignorant because we kind of like it. I see a lot of videos of people blaming Mr. Beast or a general sentiment towards Mr. Beast being evil. Do you guys feel that? I kind of feel that sentiment. I don't think he's the issue. I think he's just a placeholder. There was always going to be a person who would fulfill that role. We've evolved, with having fast entertainment and always having like entertainment, right? We need to have more because we're so used to it. There's always a need for somebody to create something more exciting, even more drama for your time and your attention. Also, you can kind of see the progression of how extreme media has devolved from Mr. Beast's own YouTube channel. In the beginning of his channel, he only made videos like, I gave 10,000 to a homeless man. Bro, you can even look at the thumbnails, bro. You can look at the thumbnails. His most recent videos, his thumbnails all depict something very extreme. His staying in a coffin, or I experienced the 10 deadliest things on the planet. Why? He knows that those extreme things are going to get people to click on because that's what people crave. It's like a chicken or the egg situation. Well, did he make you desensitized or were you already desensitized to it? I think it's contributor. I think everybody is a contributor, to be honest. So I don't think anybody's truly innocent. We read the Hunger Games, right? The comparisons that I made to the Hunger Games. We think, man, these capital people are so out of touch, unkind. Like, look how ridiculous they look, right? It's easy to see like, oh, the ridiculous outfits of the people of the capital are kind of like how celebrities dress right now for the Met Gala. And then I see TikToks that use the, are you coming to the tree? You know that song, right? I see them use that audio and then play Hailey Bailey's Met Gala thing. Normal people are working every day just to provide, and these people are spending like extravagant amount of money on silly fashion outfits that will only be worn once. But I think that's true, but I also think it's kind of surface level. I think we can dive deeper, okay? For example, who's the one who watches the shows? Who? You could argue it's other celebrities, but how many celebrities are there? You have like millions of viewers. All of them can't be celebrities. All of them can't be people who are out of touch, right? So who watches the Met Gala then? Any of these award shows? It's us. And people say like, oh my God, these people's outfits are ridiculous, but people are watching them. How do you know that they're wearing a ridiculous outfit? Because you saw them and people are giving them attention and even negative comments. Even if you didn't go directly to Doja Cat Instagram and commented under her Met Gala outfit being like, your outfit's ridiculous, or Hailey Bailey, right? Even if you didn't directly go to her Instagram and comment and give her engagement, by you posting a negative comment about her, you're giving her attention. It's a feedback loop. So the other celebrities see this, the attention, it's negative, but it's attention, gives a cycle of people trying to come up with more and more ridiculous outfits so that they can become more and more in the spotlight of the public. Nobody's going to admit like, man, you know what I would really really want to see right now? I really want to see this man with a castle on his head. I need somebody to look like a disfigured cupcake and pretend to be Marie Antoinette. Nobody's gonna say that. But watching these ridiculous things online, like the extravagance, the luxury, you know, it takes people out of their daily lives for a second, and it lets people live through them or to comment on them and to hate on them. I'm 99% sure, like, these outfits, no, actually, these events wouldn't exist if people stopped watching them. So while I do agree that a lot of the attention celebrities have been given have made their egos like super inflated and out of touch, well, who gave them the privilege of the attention? You know, I'm not guilty. You know, I like to watch the Met Gala. I like to see the ridiculous outfits, talk with my friends about how ridiculous they are, right? I don't think people should blame everything on celebrities. The point of this video, like, I don't think Mr. Beast should be, you know, flamed for this. He just gave people what he wanted. My final point is being so fixated on like the out of touchness, the luxury, the perfection, the high beauty standards, like being obsessed over this makes your average viewer not that different from the capital either. Maybe be more mindful like, of how you're consuming content. Do you want to give somebody that attention? And if you don't think it's right, then don't watch it. But maybe mindlessly watching it is just not the vibes. There's better things I could be doing, you know? I don't have to give this show my attention. My attention isn't going to stop the entire production from filming. So I don't know. You should take away from this video, to be honest. Okay, bye.